How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. The Yankees need big things. They need big players. They need really good players. And saving this season seems like an afterthought at this point. But right now, it feels like the Yankees have no choice but to go after a couple of outfielders, maybe one utility man that just kind of bubbled to the surface. We're going to talk about the prospects of Cody Bellinger, Dylan Carlson, and then, of course, a newly added name to the mix, Brendan Donovan. Now, Brendan Donovan, guys, is going to cost a little bit. He's going to cost a lot of bit, but 2029 control over this guy until 2029. He'd be the best leadoff hitter we've had in a very long time. He'd be a perfect compliment to have ahead of Aaron Judge, and he's 26 years old in the middle of his prime. This guy can play the infield. He can play the outfield. He's a tremendous hitter. This is a guy that you want as a utility piece. He's like if IKF was literally so much freaking better than what IKF is right now. That's Brendan Donovan, and he has tons of control, really, really cheap for a long time, and the Yankees be able to keep their costs down there and spend in other places. Now the question is, what do you ask for him? What do you give the Cardinals for him? We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about why Cody Bellinger could be a good move and Dylan Carlson, another high upside move. We talked about them in recent days, but we want to kind of discuss this because the Yankees losing yesterday and being swept by the Angels opened some eyes. You see Tommy Kahnle smashing that ventilation device. If I say fan, people think it's an actual fan. No, it was a ventilation device, and he threw his glove at it. He stomped it out, and then Aaron Boone came over and spoke to him on the bench and calmed them down a little bit. And then, of course, you have Carlos Rodon, who comes out and blows a kiss to the fans who are heckling him after a really bad start, and that's the worst thing you could do. Obviously he's egging the fans on, and they caught it on TV, and now everyone's having a field day with it. So it is what it is. But, at the very least, the players are showing some energy. They're showing some frustration, and I have to say, they were not doing that recently. They've been kind of laughing and shaking it off. And, Boone's been like, oh, we're fine, or we have the destiny in control. And finally, Boone said yesterday, we freaking stink. We suck. This is not the team that we know we have. Cashman knows he's got to make upgrades, and we're going to break it down for you, Ryan. But what are you thinking so far? How are you feeling about after yesterday's loss and, the prospects of Cody Bellinger, who's having a ridiculous month of July, and, maybe Brendan Donovan, who could be a really nice fit for the Yankees?
Yeah. So, number one, yesterday, I think that game was bad all around. One of the big things that we've been kind of hampering, as we've gotten closer to the deadline, it's the 19th, 20th, excuse me, today. Wow, I'm off with my days. So we're only 11 days away from that deadline, folks. And, this team needs an identifiable core. I've said this before. I'm going to keep hammering this point home. The Yankees don't have an identifiable core, and this deadline, you hope you can help address that, right? Now, the Yankees having a buy and sell approach, I think, is the best way to handle this. I don't think they should just go out and trade everything of value. I think that's insane. You have Aaron Judge, you have Garrett Cole. You have to go into next year with the ability to compete for a World Series, not just for a playoff spot. But they need to get younger. They need to get more athletic. They need to have a lot of those guys leave that have been struggling. Bellinger's a rental, so maybe the Yankees don't go out and get him, but I do think there is going to be interest there. I think he's a really good ball player. I think he's someone you'd like to have in center field for a very long time. So you could, even if you don't win the World Series this year, if you got him and you somehow made a push, the Yankees it's not impossible for the Yankees to make the playoffs or anything like that. But if they got him and they made a push, and he plays well, you can look at him as an extension candidate. He's only 28 years old, kind of add him to this group of players. Carlson's a high upside guy, solid hitter, not an elite hitter, but a solid hitter. You view him as someone who can be a versatile outfielder for you and help you out. But the guy that you mentioned there, Donovan, obviously the guy that's the most expensive of the three, obviously the guy that's going to be the most sought after of the three. Brendan Donovan is probably not going to get traded. Like, if I had to bet, I'd say no, but could the Yankees entice the Cardinals? Maybe. Donovan's got everything you need for the New York Yankees at the leadoff spot. He's got great walk rates. He's got a pretty solid average. He hits a really good power. Switch hitter. I think he's left-handed or switch hitter. I know that, but point is he can hit from the left side. He helps the Yankees dramatically. He's a utility guy. As you mentioned, he can play. He won the Gold Glove last year for utility men. So, he can play strong third base, solid at second, solid in the corner outfield spots, can play some first base for you, though he's not very good at first. He's perfect for the Yankees. I think this is the type of guy that, I will pay a premium for. I don't think he's Soto or Tani level in terms of premium, but if, the Cardinals ask for, Will Warren and Clark Schmidt and Clayton Beeter, all three of them, I'd consider that a steal for the Yankees. The way I explained it to Alex, and this is the way I'm going to explain it on the podcast, what is the likelihood that Will Warren or Clark Schmidt or Clayton Beeter are going to be as important to the Yankees' success in 2024 as Brendan Donovan could be? This is a proven major leaguer. This guy's 26. This guy's done nothing but hit at the major league level, and the Yankees have plenty of pitching, and they have plenty of pitching prospects. So I think this is a guy that if it's available, if the opportunity is there, if the cost isn't, Jason Dominguez, Anthony Volpe, and Oswald Peraza, I think you go out and make that move. I think this is the type of guy that you need on your team. This is the type of guy that you would dream about adding. This guy's really good. That's really, really the best way to put it. This guy's really good. And any Yankee fan, analytical, old school, whatever you want to say, would love this guy at the top of their lineup.
I mean, look, guys, Brendan Donovan is no joke. You have control. And look, here's the thing. I was arguing with some people on Twitter, and they're like, okay, I really want to sell. I want to sell at the deadline. I want to retool for next season. Brendan Donovan is a retooling move. You know what I mean? He's a guy that you bring in. You're not buying. You're retooling for the future because he can help you immediately, kind of assimilate with the Yankees, their style, and then help you in 2024. And for the next 5 freaking years, he can help you. You know what I mean? This isn't a player that is just simply going to step in and, be kind of non-existent immediately. He's going to help you now, but he's also going to help you in the future. And I think ultimately that's where you're looking at from a perspective of why you're not selling right now. You're buying with the intention of having a long-term piece. And that's kind of the thing. I don't really want rentals right now. I want guys that have long-term impacts. And Donovan can help you now and in the future. So, you could sell, right? Selling would mean you're trying to move Luis Severino. You're trying to move Herman. You're trying to move Wandy Pro. But, what are they worth? Harris, maybe you try to move Harrison Bader. Bader's hurt again. He got a freaking rib contusion yesterday. He could be out for weeks after that. Knowing Bader, he's going to be out for a couple of days at the very least. Who knows what happens there. Severino is having a terrible season. Who wants him? What are they going to give for him? You look at the same time, Joey Gallo was just having a hard time in New York. I think the Dodgers took a chance on him because ultimately they wanted to see if he was just struggling in New York. They wanted to buy low, see if he could provide some power. And then you also look at, guys like Wandy, who's just not the same as he was last year. And ultimately, Herman, his one more year left of control, I believe. He's also been really inconsistent. He'd probably be you probably get the most of anybody out of Herman right now on the market. But you're selling for what? Pennies on the dollar. It's not you're getting much from them. You're selling, sure, but you're also selling with the intention of bringing up young guys, which I support. I'd love to see Everson Pereira. But the Yankees don't support that method. They haven't. It's evident that they do not want to call up young players. Everson Pereira, if Harrison Bader has to miss any time, he should be the first one called up. Ryan, I know you agree with that. So, right now, you have to go out with the intention of getting guys that have long-term prospects, right? Brendan Donovan is a long-term prospect. You look at Dylan Carlson. Is he that good? No. He's been average to above average in terms of WRC plus for 3 consecutive years. He's a good right-handed hitter. Maybe he can, hit a little bit for more power on the left side of the plate. In Yankee Stadium, he's a plus defender. He's 24 years old. He has control until 2027. Another long-term prospect. Cody Bellinger, he's a mutual option for next year, but the Yankees would probably decide, okay, if we're going to go out and get a couple of cheaper guys, we can afford to pay Bellinger. You can pretty much use the exact same salary you were going to give to Donaldson anyway, or whatever Donaldson's earning this year. You kind of flip that into Cody Bellinger. Makes perfect sense to me. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense as a long-term prospect, because you're not getting Bellinger to be a rental like Benintendi. You're getting Bellinger because you also have the intention of signing him long-term, and he wants to be a Yankee. So, Ryan, when you're looking at the trade deadline, you could sell a couple pieces, but I feel like some of the guys we're listing here aren't just rentals. They have long-term potential and pinstripes, and that's where I'm kind of focusing.
Yeah, that's I 100% agree there. Look, the Yankees need to position themselves to win in 2024. That's the objective of the deadline. And to kind of address, if anyone's got this, okay, well, you have to sell, so acquiring Brendan Donovan would not make sense. If you have the opportunity to acquire a player with years of control that can help you, and you say no because you're in quote unquote sell mode, I don't think you understand what goes into winning, right? You need to win baseball games, right? The objective of this team is to win baseball games, and the season isn't over. Alex, let's be real here. If the Yankees have a really good month of August, it's not impossible, right? I'm not sitting here and saying it's going to happen, but like, are we gonna do we throw up on the season? Do we throw out every possibility? We say, you know what, fire to the wind, caution to the wind, excuse me. No chance this team makes the postseason. Screw it. Or do you say, all right, you know what, like, hey, we can capitalize on value for like Domingo Germán, Wandy Peralta, the free agent. Let's move those guys. But if the opportunity to acquire a Brendan Donovan becomes available, we'll acquire him. Retooling, just a roster shakeup. That's really what I'm looking for here. Roster shakeup, get a little bit younger. I know that there aren't a lot of pieces that you traditionally look at as like big time pieces to move, but the Yankees having a lot of controllable bullpen pieces definitely helps them. That will entice someone on the market. I'm sure someone's calling and saying, hey, what are you looking to give up? What are you looking to get for Ian Hamilton? Like, would you take like our 15th or 16th ranked prospect? And I know that sounds like, well, the 15th or 16th ranked prospect in the organization is not great, but that's what Clayton Beeter was with the Dodgers. Like, he was a flyer. He was a guy who was not that good and then came over to the Yankees and became pretty good. We have to understand that prospects are prospects, right? Like, we can project their outcomes. We can do all that stuff, but we don't know what they truly are until they're major leaguers. Now that plays to both hands, right? Like, we can't sit here and say Jason Dominguez is a superstar because he's a highly touted prospect, but we also can't sit here and say like Trey Sweeney will never become a good major league player because he's not a superstar prospect. If you get what I'm saying here. Yes, reputation, skill set, stuff like that matters, but that can also develop in the minor league. Some guys are later bloomers than others. I think Donovan's a great example here. Donovan is 26 years old in his second year in the big leagues. It took him a while to get from point A to point B in his development. And there are going to be guys like that. So, if the Yankees just get some lottery tickets, I think that'll be fine for them. I still want them to go out and get a controllable outfield bat. I think that's a priority for them. I look at Germán as someone that has value. I think Peralta has value. Look at a team like Texas, right? Like, they need pitching, right? Like, and Texas has shown they're aggressive. Texas traded for Aroldis Chapman in June. They're desperate. You mean to tell me if you dangle like Ian Hamilton to them or Domingo Germán that they're not going to say, all right, we'll give you a couple solid prospects. The guy I'm telling you, like, the guy I'm locked in on, Thomas Saggese. I need this guy in pinstripes. Like, he's killing it in Double A. He's 21 years old. Texas needs pitching. That team's making the postseason. That team's aggressive. Say, hey, we'll give you Ian Hamilton. You give us Saggese, 1-for-1 swap. That's a second baseman in Double A, can push for a competition in 2024. Those are the type of guys you're looking for. Prospects who are close to major league ready, who can help you in 2024, compete for a job, help this team out. Or in this case, Brendan Donovan or Carlson, controllable bats. Bellinger isn't a controllable bat, but you feel like you can kind of, you're trading for the exclusive negotiating rights at the end of the season and during the season for potential extension. You obviously get to see how he plays and reacts to New York, which I think is really important. If you'd rather just wait until the offseason to just sign him and not trade anyone, that's totally fine with me. I don't think he has a qualifying offer attached to him if he gets traded, but you obviously run the risk of him signing elsewhere. Another guy I want to throw out there that could be available in free agency that could help the Yankees is a Korean-born player, Jung-Hoo Lee. He's 24 years old. He's going to be posted. He's probably the best player in the entire country. Left-handed, contact OBP guy, kind of similar to Donovan in that sense. Point is, entering 2024, the Yankees need to be a younger team. They can't be the fourth oldest position player group in baseball, especially with the mistakes they make on the diamond. Frankie Clear had a big day yesterday, but you can't get thrown out running to third on a ground ball to shortstop. Same thing happened with Bader. This team doesn't play very good fundamental baseball. Get a little bit younger, get a little bit more athletic, find a core, find that identity, and then move forward. Alex, I think you can agree with me. The Yankees aren't doomed. Like, this isn't like, oh my God, the Yankees are never going to be good ever again, right? Like, this is a frustrating season. This sucks. Like, these last 6 games have been inexcusable. But to say like the season's over, the franchise is doomed, or we'll never win a ring with Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, like, my comfort is I wake up tomorrow and Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole are on my team, and they're on my team for a very long time. So I have the comfort that we're going to compete for a very long time. They just need to reshape what it looks like. They need to change the process, and the offseason need to ask themselves how we got to this point and how we can avoid getting to a point like this again. And a lot of it is just revamping, retooling, and getting and having a new look as an organization. It's not like, all right, everything's over, go win 70 games next year and tank for a top pick.
I'll leave you with this, guys. The Yankees aren't going to sell for one big reason. They just gave Aaron Judge a 9-year, $360 million deal at what most would say like he's in the middle of his prime. Like, he has a couple more years. They are not going to waste a year, especially if Aaron Judge is going to come back in 2 weeks. So he was running bases yesterday. They're not going to waste a year of this new contract just because they want to sell at the deadline and they're still over 500. They're 3.5 games out of the wild card spot. To me, they're not thinking about the AL East anymore. They're like, the AL East is done. Like, we have no shot at catching the Rays. But we're only 3.5 games out of the wild card. All we need to do is do well enough in August and September to get into the postseason, and then we can make a run. You know what I mean? All they're thinking right now is all we need to do is retool, get Judge back, make a run in the postseason, just make it to the postseason. That's all they have to do. That's probably what they're thinking right now, which is not good because you want to be in the mix for the AL East, but I think they've completely forgotten about that prospect entirely. They're not going to waste a prime Aaron Judge year, especially if he's going to return, just because of a bad couple of months. Do I think the Yankees suck right now? Yes, I do. Does Aaron Boone say it? I was going to say Aaron Bonds. Aaron Boone said it? Yes. Yes, Aaron Boone said it last night. We suck right now. But if Aaron Judge is coming back in a couple of weeks and the Yankees have an opportunity to improve this roster at the deadline, you better believe they're going to try, because we know Brian Cashman, he's not going down without a swing. He's not going down without punching. And ultimately, that's kind of the truth right now. So we'll see what happens. Always happy to hear perspectives in the YouTube comments. I know they're going to be pretty bad, and ours are as well. And right now we're kind of very frustrated, and we're wondering what they're going to do to improve this team. But this team is not going quietly into the night, my friends. We know the Yankees. We know that they're heavy hitters. We know they're going to do something. We know they're going to make moves. The question is, what are they going to be? So always happy to hear perspectives. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.